Well, welcome to Buffalo Trace. This evening, we're here to celebrate Valentine's Day, and we have something very special today. We have a virtual cocktail demonstration and a BT love story. So, a Buffalo Trace love story. I'll get to that in a second. So, I'm Drew Mayville. I'm the master blender here at Buffalo Trace, and I've been doing this for just a short 42 years now. Just had my 42nd anniversary. And I've been in this industry a long time in different positions in different companies. And I haven't had so much fun as I've had at Buffalo Trace Distillery now for 18 years. So today we have two very special guests to my left, Stephanie and Travis.
Thanks for
Say
having us,
hi.
Drew.
Yes. We're here actually located right now at the Buffalo Trace Clubhouse. We call the Elmer T Clubhouse, which is very special for us. And today we're going to make a cocktail and have some conversation with Travis and Stephanie. So today our location being so special, Elmer T Clubhouse, we also have Travis and Stephanie, and we're going to actually make this cocktail called the Buffalo Trace Love. So the Buffalo Love. I don't know if we call it Buffalo Trace Love, but Buffalo Love.
Oh, it's got Buffalo Trace, so we'll go with Buffalo Trace.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. So the recipe is on our website. It's buffalotracedistillery.com/events. And actually, it's pretty easy to find. And so if you're interested in making this for Valentine's or any other day, please look it up. And we're going to actually go through it. So we're going to use our Buffalo Trace bourbon, which you can see right here. I'm sure you're familiar with this product. This is our namesake bourbon. It was introduced in 1999. And this cocktail is really quite tasty because of that. So we got several ingredients. We've got Buffalo Trace bourbon. We have Diamore Amaretto. And we have this product called Coca-Cola, in case you haven't heard of that. And then we have these beautiful maraschino cherries here, just glistening there for the camera. So Buffalo Trace, being such a well-balanced bourbon with the spiciness, is really going to make this shine and come through the cocktail, through the sweetness of the liqueur. And so let's have some fun.
Absolutely.
That sounds great.
Now, you're tempted to drink it without mixing it.
Yeah,
but
I've been staring at it, Drew, and it's been calling to me.
So this is a little beaker. This is kind of cute. I don't think you'll have these at home. So you can just use a shot. This is actually 2 ounces of Buffalo Trace in a glass that has some ice in it. Let's try that. Just pour it in.
Step one complete.
Step one. Now, the second step is adding the amaretto, which is really a liqueur that has a nutty flavor, almost like a almond type flavor. And it's actually quite sweet, so it really sweetens up the Buffalo Trace. Let's add that. That's only 1 ounce. Maybe we'll mix it up a little bit. And then the last ingredient is Coke, or another cola, and only 2 ounces of that. Hopefully that'll fit in the glass.
Perfect.
Yes. And the pièce de résistance is the 3 maraschino cherries. You can put in 2 or 1, it's up to you. But you have to have that. That adds that pop of color in your drink. And just mix it up a little bit. And then let's cheers. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Drew. Thanks so much.
Cheers.
Oh, that is good.
You know, I got to say, I'm normally a neat guy, but I could go for this.
Yeah. Well, you really get to taste the bourbon on this because that amaretto actually accentuates some of the flavors of the whiskey, especially the nuttiness and that sweetness, maybe even apricots, that fruitiness comes through. So it really helps push the bourbon out. And then that spiciness from the Buffalo Trace also comes through. So you actually, even on the finish, you taste some of the bourbon right now.
Yeah, it doesn't disappear within.
It doesn't disappear, so it stands up to this very well. I'm glad you liked it.
This could be a good one to have at the wedding.
Could be.
Ah, so you just let the secret out of the bag.
I did.
So these two are getting married at Buffalo Trace, and that's why it's so special, and that's why they're here tonight to celebrate Valentine's Day. So let's talk a little bit about your love story, so to speak. Where did you guys meet? Anything you want to tell us and the audience about yourselves? Because I know you met somewhere not here. You didn't meet at Buffalo Trace.
No, Drew. We actually, both of us got out of the military about the same time. We didn't know each other at the time, but we went back up to Michigan. Both of us were living in Virginia to do our undergrad studies. And we met actually the first week back for both of us in the fall of 2017. The Friday of the first week of classes, we met. I saw Stephanie sitting outside the Veterans Lounge.
Was it love at first sight?
You know, I was definitely drawn to her for a number of reasons.
I don't want to get you in trouble.
No, not at all.
It was definitely interest at first sight.
I
don't know it wasn't for me love at first sight. But when I had moved back to Michigan, I had moved back with one purpose, and the purpose was to finish my bachelor's degree and then to get the heck out of Michigan. Love wasn't in the cards.
Just friends.
Just friends is what I was hoping for, but
Yeah.
things
But
changed.
it grew.
Things, interest grew into affection, and I think affection then grew into love.
Wow, that's a great love story.
That's good. So we became friends first. We started doing a lot with our kind of group of friends on campus, and one thing led to another, and we actually had our first date in 2018.
He knew it was a date. I didn't realize because we were so good friends that it was a date.
So there wasn't a meeting of the minds.
There was not a
No.
meeting of the minds. I figured it out halfway through, and I was still very okay with it.
Everybody else knew. Like all of our friends were like, yeah, "You didn't realize it was a date," but we got there in the end.
What brought you to Buffalo Trace? How does that connect? Because you somehow connected here.
Yeah, so we started looking because both of us wanted to leave Michigan after our undergrad work.
Right.
And so we were looking at some options. I have friends of mine here in the Lexington area that I've been coming down to visit for a number of years. And so I've fallen in love with this area and the people, all the different opportunities. Stephanie hadn't been down here at all. So we decided to make a trip to check it out, to introduce her to the Lexington area. And Buffalo Trace was our first distillery tour together.
Wow.
I'm a lot newer to bourbon than Travis is, and Buffalo Trace was my introduction to the bourbon world, really.
So Travis is the expert, and you're the novice.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, very much so.
Wow. And so you came for a tour of Buffalo Trace?
We did. We were actually waiting for the tour to start. We were sitting out on the front porch of the gift shop in the rocking chairs, and just offhandedly I said, "Hey, why don't we get married here?" And
that was planned or a suggestion?
it was an offhanded comment. It wasn't actually meant to be a thing because I didn't think that she would ever be on board. Well,
And we were
Of getting married or being married here?
both, because we were not engaged.
Oh.
We were I wouldn't say newly dating, but we hadn't been dating for that long.
Well, he was quick.
He was quick.
Wow.
That's okay.
Yeah.
yeah. So she took that conversation though, and she's really been the one to run with it. She's reached out to get a lot of things coordinated, and I'm not disappointed by that at all. I mean, you get an opportunity to have a unique location for your ceremony on such a historic site, and
Yes.
here in the Elmer T. Lee Clubhouse, which is fantastic because, as it were, Elmer T. Lee is one of my favorite bourbons.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's tougher to find nowadays, but yeah, it's going to be, I think, a great wedding next spring.
And honestly, for all of those who are watching, if you ever get a chance, come to Buffalo Trace. Come to Kentucky.
Which tour did you take? Just the general
We
tour?
did. We just took the general tour, and we had watched Neat shortly before our trip down here, just to kind of introduce her to a little bit of the bourbon world and what goes on. And we had saw Freddie on the movie, and he didn't give our tour, but when we got up to the tasting room, Freddie was doing the tasting for us. So
wow,
kind of got a little starstruck, It's a good time.
So what brought you to why do you enjoy bourbon? Like what brings you to bourbon? Both of you, not just Travis, but
I started as a Scotch person. I was introduced to single malt Scotches many, many years ago, back in 2001, 2002 timeframe, and fell in love with them. And then I guess 2004, 2005 started getting introduced to some bourbons. There wasn't near as many at that point as there are now, and they were a lot easier to find than they are now. But
yes.
I started realizing the beauty that is bourbon, and everybody's talked about how there was better flavor components in single malt Scotches, and I started to find that bourbon had just as many variances and great flavors, and plus it's a totally American spirit.
Right. And what about you?
I'm very, like you said, very new to bourbon. But Travis's enthusiasm for bourbon,
it's contagious.
It is contagious.
Yes.
And it's neat because he, oftentimes will get something and give me a pour and say, what do you think about this? And learning about the complexities that is bourbon, it's fun. And
it's fun learning,
good.
isn't it? Yeah. And so how do you drink bourbon? How do you, Travis, drink bourbon?
I am more often than not a neat type of guy.
Right.
It's the way I normally lean. Yeah, I appreciate that, Drew.
And how about you?
I don't have a specific way.
So anything.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna try this straight.
And I don't mind it straight. I really enjoy a good cocktail, which in this is great. And even on the rocks, I think is great. But I also grew up with my dad drinking Scotch and whiskey on the rocks. So
fantastic. Well, hopefully you can have this cocktail at your wedding or something.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great addition to the day.
Yes. Well, I'd just like to thank both of you for coming and sharing this Valentine's Day with us here at Buffalo Trace and for the audience. And I wish everybody a very happy Valentine's Day, and see you next time at Buffalo Trace.
Thanks, Drew.
Thank you.
You're welcome.